Alan Cox.
On WMMS.
Two 216-578-1007 if you want to join us live, or 800-348-1007. Have those Kerry King tickets for you in about a half an hour if you're a Slayer fan. He's back doing some solo dates, one of which will be end of January. Around the corner here at the House of Blues, about 10 minutes away, 9 minutes away from your next keyword. Could get you $1,000 courtesy of the Buzzard bookie. So we get a few of those from you about 30 past before we roll out at 4:30 for Guardians pregame, Game 3 tonight. 5:08 is your first pitch. Next three games here at home at Progressive Field. Obviously, I don't have to tell you the state of the situation right now. The Dodgers wailed on the Mets last night. I don't know how many people are paying attention to that series. But 8-0 last night. And, listen, this could very well be a, let's put the best case scenario. You could have a Dodgers-Guardians World Series. Would that scratch you where you itch?
That's just what everybody wants.
Dodgers-Guardians.
That's what Major League Baseball, they're just dying for that.
They don't want the Subway Series. Yeah. They don't want Yankees-Mets. The only people that care about that are people in the tri-state area in New York. Dodgers, Guardians. I would like to see that.
I would love that.
Dodgers are up 2-1 in that series. So the Mets are flailing, but they had ice-cold bats last night. And then the Cavaliers lost too. It's still preseason ball. Everybody's figuring out where they belong and what they're going to look like. But they lost to the Pistons last night, who were a terrible team last season. Maybe they will be in better shape this. 108-92 was the final last night. Cavs will play preseason ball again tomorrow night. They'll be at the United Center in Chicago to play the Bulls. And you'll hear that, I think, on MMS. I think we're airing the Cavs tomorrow night. But tonight you'll hear the Guardians. And you can use the promo code ERIE. If you want to get some stuff at CLE Clothing Company, use ERIE and you'll get 20% off whatever you want. It is Halloween time, so Erie works. Spell it like that or like the lake. They probably don't care. My Chicago White Sox look like they might finally be up for sale. This guy, Jerry Reinsdorf, who is one of the most, locally, he's not a popular guy. He owns the White Sox and the Chicago Bulls, and they have been begging him for a while to put the White Sox up for sale. And the cherry on top was this past season. And he's always said he's not going to do it. They'll figure it out. I think maybe this might even be the camel that the straw that broke that camel's back. So he is reportedly in ongoing talks to possibly unload the White Sox. And it makes you clench when you read how little these guys bought these teams for back in the day. He bought the White Sox in 1981. He owned the White Sox 4 or 5 years before he bought the Bulls. If you remember the Michael Jordan documentary, Jerry Reinsdorf was featured prominently in that because he's been the owner for a long, long time, and he's a very, very divisive figure in Chicago sports. But he bought the White Sox in 1981 for $20 million.
That's so crazy.
Right? When these guys, if you bought a professional sports franchise, one of the big three, late 70s, early 80s, even into the late 80s, that's what you were getting it for, $20 million. White Sox, even though they just had the season that they had, they're worth about $2 billion. So that's a pretty good, he's the majority owner. He doesn't own the whole thing, but he would stand to make the most money. That's a pretty good return on investment.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
You've held on to her for 40 years.
Uh-huh.
They went 41 and 121, so it might be, and he released a letter to the fans like you do, end of the season, and there wasn't much shine to put on what happened. But he bought the Chicago Bulls for $16 million. Before Michael Jordan was even on the team. And the Bulls are now about a $5 billion franchise. So he's not doing anything with them. He's not going to let them go. But a buddy of mine who does sports radio in Chicago, he sent me the story. He goes, it looks like Jerry might be open to selling the Sox. And I'm like, now, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. You never know. I mean, these days, teams get sold to guys that have no interest in sports. They just want the flex, or it's an existing billionaire or whatever. So you never know what you're going to get. But some of those people...
What if Michael Jordan buys him?
Well, isn't he part owner of the Hornets?
He was. I think he
sold his interest in that?
I think he's divested his interest in that.
Well, maybe he will. Maybe that is one of the interested parties that he's talking with.
I think.
But, this is also generational wealth. So a lot of these people who own these franchises, they just want to pass them to their kids. That's how the guy who just moved the Oakland A's, that's how he got the team. His dad was a super rich guy and gave him the team. But Jerry Reinsdorf's son is the guy who currently runs the Bulls.
Yeah, Jordan sold them the Hornets last year, August of 2023. So maybe he's ready to splash, make a new splash.
Yeah.
He loves baseball.
Yeah, sure does.
He played for the Barons, right? That was the...
Yeah, they had him suited up for the White Sox for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hey, Scott.
Yeah, we're going to switch gears here now, baseball fans. How are you doing?
Scott, how are you?
Hey, I called Monday
We know.
and said I was the first-time caller, which is actually not true. You were talking 5-6 years ago. They were talking about you being fired. Your contract was coming up. And I called, and about 3 rings. You go, hey, Alan Cox. I go, I heard you got fired. I think you hung up or so. I hung up on you or so. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, there's a lot Scott, there's a lot in that story that doesn't track. There was no conversation about me being fired, and I don't pick up my own phones.
Well, no, it was the MMS phone, and it was the buzz around Cleveland.
The buzz around Cleveland was that the number 1 show was going to have its host fired?
Hey, Brian and Joe quit. They were number 3. They
Right.
were number 1
Yes.
for 3 consecutive
Right.
years.
Well, I know what a big Brian and Joe fan you were, Scott. You made that very, very clear, and I think that's warranted. They were huge.
I was on their last show. I got duped. There was
You got duped? What do you mean?
There was an airplane, and people were looking out the window, and they saw Jesus in the clouds. And then I'm talking like Trump. But anyways, I go, I got this. I was in Tennessee. We broke up Nashville. Yeehaw. I was on Nashville's finest Wild Horse Saloon. I'm yeehaw. I got cowboy boots, a hat, and a shirt. So I call Brian and Joe and say, hey, I heard, I had video on my Sony camcorder. It was in little 8mm tapes. I said, I got a picture of me, and I got home, and the girlfriend left. She met some guy in Tennessee. And I said, I'll come and show you this picture of Jesus in the clouds. I was there on their last day. I'm sitting out there in the parking lot because I was a cable guy. Get her done. And they go, come meet Cheryl. Cheryl had some roses. There was one guy there. And they tape me. I'm on for 2 hours in the morning. And then they go, here's a rose, consolation prize. I wasn't there to meet nobody. I didn't win. But they laughed at me. They took me. They go, you're going to be a millionaire. Put this on the internet. I never did. I never watched that tape. I still have it. But he goes, you're going to have TCBY, Jesus in the Clouds, yogurt.
So thank you, Scott. I'm starting to think that maybe a little Scott goes a long way.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Play him off there. So thank you. Thank you, Scott. Did you get any of that? Did you
TCBY was a throwback. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just having a hard time following.
Well, he was on the old Brian and Joe show, and he got, they thought that he wanted a date, or I don't know. Hey, got money here for you. It's $1,000, courtesy of the Buzzard Bookie. Every one of these keywords got a grand attached to it, so I hope that you win. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Check. That's check. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Well, Fox 8 is reporting that the Browns have confirmed their move to Brook Park.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Bah.
Is that really? Is that going to suck?
I mean, I don't like it, but
really?
I mean, it's.
But isn't it going to be a massive, what they're planning is just some massive entertainment complex, and people are going to want to go to that?
I'm sure they will, but I don't.
You don't want to go out there?
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I live closer to downtown than I do.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
Also,
this isn't going to be for this isn't tomorrow. It's like
Right.
another 3 or 4 years, right?
So they have so many bad decisions that they are going to make between the opening of this complex and then.
You're saying it
now.
won't be a
Yeah.
smooth transition?
Well, I mean,
doesn't matter where they are.
Just look at what the Haslams have done to the Browns franchise with the on the field stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the off the field stuff goes.
Yep.
Haslam should sell the team.
He should sell the team.
Yes, he should.
Okay, well, there you go. Maybe he will. Maybe Jerry Reinsdorf will buy the Cleveland Browns. How about that?
Well,
Maybe we could go in. How much you got on you? Maybe we
not
could.
quite the $4 billion or whatever it's worth to.
Well, we'll get a group of
We'll have to-
investors.
yeah,
We'll get a
we'll
consortium together and then take care of that.
And today we're hearing from the players what they think of this plan. Arleah Doherty was out at practice earlier today. She has her story for us tonight.
Last practice out here in Berea with fans before the very first preseason game on Saturday.
Oh, that's not. Well, how old is that?
That's
Jesus
a while
Christ.
ago,
This is
yeah.
part of a breaking news article there on 19's website. And they have some 2-week-old piece of video.
That's more than 2 weeks old.
Yeah, preseason game.
Preseason game. That's 2 months old.
Right. Well, there you go. Okay. So they've made it official that they will move out to Brook Park there. The lease over here on the lakefront runs through 2028. A domed stadium. This is what people say they want. We want a dome. And you're going to get one. You'll just have to go out by the airport. You can fly in, you can run across the highway, and you can go to the Browns game. So the team's lease, it's with the city, obviously, over there. That ends at 2028. And then they will move out to Brook Park.
Cities in. Shifting economic activity to Brook Park will weaken these public assets and be a net negative, not a positive, but a net negative for the region. And like many urban cities
This is Mayor Bibb, obviously. He's not pleased with
He's
this
not happy
because
about
it
this,
goes
yeah.
out of Cleveland.
across the country,
Because they just approved that
are
shorefront.
Yes,
like that
$60 million to make it a boulevard.
still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic
Throwing COVID
and
in
the
there.
rise of remote work. Their intent, if it indeed proves to be viable, would move jobs, development, and access away from the urban core.
Oh, think about all those Brook Parkers who are going to be just awash in fun and excitement out there. You have to imagine that there's people who are going to, is this situation, I know it's on a huge swath of already developed land, but, these kinds of projects, when the scope is that big, they always end up being a little bit more complicated than people expect. And I wonder if there's going to be any part of this that requires eminent domain out there in Brook Park, right? Like somebody knocks at your door and goes, hey, we need to buy your house because we have to tear it down. That happens all the time with big industrial projects. And there's lawsuits involved and things like that. But obviously, the Browns have been there on the lakefront since 1946 is what this says. So, they'll go out there in a few years, and people will be able to talk about this and chew it over and blah, blah, blah. But I bet that once they do it, everybody's going to love it. Now, what will they use the Lakefront Stadium for?
Oh, that's
Once the team leaves.
probably going to be torn down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They won't use it for women's soccer? Couldn't they use it for? Hello? Couldn't they use it? I thought they were going to already build some women's pro soccer stadium on the lakefront.
Yeah, I don't know if they needed it to be a 70,000 seat.
Well,
stadium
they don't
for that.
know, but it's what I'm saying is already there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's already there.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to it, but I for one am bummed about the Browns moving to Brook Park.
Listen, if it makes you feel any better,
It doesn't.
as soon as that thing opens, they're still going to be paying Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, right.
So that'll make you feel real good. 2028 doesn't matter. They're still going to be paying him.
He's done by then.
Uh-huh.
2026 is his last.
Well,
season.
they'll be paying him something. They'll restructure something, so he's got to get the Bobby Bonilla situation.
Hey, Alan. Listening to the podcast from Wednesday, you were talking about the lady that filed the lawsuit for not getting a farewell card. You know what they should have done? They should have gotten a farewell card, and then everybody could put in it, "Get out of here, banana breath. What the hell did you just eat? A banana?" That would have been great.
That would have been great. We should get shirts made.
Get out of here, banana breath. She's sitting there laughing to herself. Are you okay? Do you need to leave the room?
She's been put in an uncomfortable situation. What are some things she could say?
Back away, banana breath. What the hell did you just eat? A banana?
I'm sure that's what she'd like to say.
Totally.
Banana breath is a great. Oh, that's an epic burn.
It's an epic burn. Let's make shirts.
From I Think You Should Leave,
Yeah.
if people aren't hip to that show.
Season 3, I
Yeah.
believe. And Detroiters, I think they had the information wrong. It went on Netflix yesterday. So it's on there now.
Yeah.
And I think people thought it was going to be on there on Tuesday.
Oh, I
But
see.
I was watching the pilot episode, and when they go to get beers, and they're like, "We have 2 beers," and the bartender goes, "Cold or hot?" And they're like, "Cold. Why would anybody?"
Who wants a hot beer?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it does say, listen, on a cold Cleveland day, a nice hot beer, just bubbly and warm. They don't heat up Christmas ale, right? They did the first pour this morning. They don't.
No, they serve it
They don't
cold.
heat that up,
No.
ice cold.
Yeah.
That is a quandary. I mean, when you like beer, you don't necessarily, it always comes cold, but in the wintertime, it's not necessarily something you want to be drinking a cold beverage. So somebody needs to really dip their toe into the hot beer market and see if anything can happen there.
And that second episode where Ned, the security guard, comes, they get the motorcycle, so they just want to go out and ride on their motorcycle. So they have Ned, the security guard, do the pitch, and he comes up with like the dancing with the hand in the pocket, and he's pitching. And he's like, "You got a nice neck."
Hey, that's a compliment that a lot of people. That's an underrated compliment. You've got a nice neck.
It's great. Oh.
Yeah, you're like a swan. That's right. Mark in Brook Park says, "You can come and tailgate in my backyard. Unless my house is torn up for the new stadium.
Hey.
In which case.
Cha-ching, baby.
Yeah. Mike in Parma says if the mayor was smart, he'd start digging the pedestrian tunnel from the Muni lot to Brook Park.
There you go.
Now let's fund that project, right? You just party there in the Muni lot, and then you start the 3-hour walk to Brook Park. You have to time it out properly. But do you think that this will lead to a resurgence? Do you think that it will revitalize
the Brook Park strip club scene?
The strip joints on Brook Park Road?
I mean, that's the
That's
silver
the hope.
lining. That's the silver
hope.
lining of
Yep.
everything. If it, brings Brook Park strip clubs back to prominence.
Yes. Everything old will be new again, including those strippers. I got to take a break here. I'll have those Kerry King tickets for you. Slayer did a handful of kind of little reunion shows on festivals, but Kerry King was already doing a